My mother skipped my son's 10th birthday on purpose, then called the police when I refused to finance my niece's $28,000 quinceañera. I did not know the second part yet when Mateo stood in front of a grocery store cake with 10 blue candles shaking in the July heat. I only knew that every chair I had saved for my family was empty. "Make a wish, buddy," I said. He closed his eyes so tightly that the corners wrinkled. Around him, 7 kids from his elementary school shouted his name while a Bluetooth speaker played a song too loud for our little backyard. The paper streamers I had taped between the fence and the laundry shed kept peeling loose in the wind. A plastic basketball hoop leaned toward the driveway because one leg had cracked, and I had stabilized it with 2 bricks and a length of duct tape. The hamburgers were a little overcooked. The ice in the lemonade had already melted. It was not the kind of birthday anyone posted in a lifestyle magazine. To Mateo, it was perfect. That was why I kept smiling. My mother, Elena, had promised to bring a tray of chicken flautas. My sister, Carla, said she would arrive early with gift bags. My brother, Adrian, had texted, "Save me a burger. I'll be there before cake." At 2:15, I told myself traffic on I-35 was bad. At 2:40, I moved the flauta-shaped empty space on the folding table and filled it with extra chips. At 3:05, I stopped checking the gate every time a car slowed near the duplex. Then, while Mateo and his friend Jonah argued over whether a shot counted, my phone buzzed behind the lemonade pitcher. It was a message from my mother. "Don't start one of your scenes, Daniel. He's 10. Kids don't remember every little party." I stared at the words until they blurred. Before I could answer, another notification appeared. Carla had posted a story. There they were. My mother wore oversized sunglasses and held a mimosa near a wall of white roses. Adrian leaned into the frame with a whiskey glass in one hand. Carla smiled over a tower of oysters at a rooftop restaurant near the Pearl, one of those places where the valet stand had its own chandelier. Isabella, Carla's daughter, sat at the edge of the photo in a pale pink dress, looking down at her phone. The caption read, "Sunday with the people who protect your peace." For a few seconds, I forgot how to breathe. I had spent 3 weeks building Mateo's party out of overtime hours and careful arithmetic. I installed fiber lines and home security systems for a regional contractor. Most days began before sunrise in a warehouse. That smelled like rubber cable and burnt coffee. By noon, I was usually on a ladder in somebody's attic, crawling through insulation while a homeowner asked whether I could make their internet stronger without moving the router. The pay was decent if I took emergency calls. It was not generous. I kept lists for everything: rent, electric, gas, school lunch, uniform shirts, soccer fees, groceries, and the exact day the discount meat section at H-E-B usually got restocked. Mateo called me "Dad the calculator." I pretended to be offended, and he always laughed. That party had cost $412.63. I knew because I had subtracted every receipt twice. I had also spent 4 evenings repairing the fence, washing borrowed chairs, and turning cardboard boxes into a basketball shooting game because Mateo had seen something similar online. My neighbor, Mrs. Alvarez, lent me 2 folding tables and a cooler. Jonah's father brought a speaker. Mateo's teacher sent a card. My family had been given 3 weeks' notice. They had simply chosen somewhere else. Mateo ran over with frosting on his nose. "Dad, can Jonah stay 30 more minutes?" Ask his dad. He said yes if you say yes. Then yes. Mateo grinned. He did not ask where his grandmother was. He did not ask why Aunt Carla had missed the candles or why Uncle Adrian's chair was still empty. That hurt more than if he had cried. Children notice patterns long before adults admit there is one. Mateo had learned not to build expectations around my family. He had learned it from the Christmas Elena left early because Carla needed help setting up a wine tasting. He had learned it from the school awards ceremony Adrian promised to attend, then skipped for a golf tournament. He had learned it from the Saturday my mother said she was too tired to watch his soccer game, then posted photos from a furniture store with Carla. I had always explained their absences for them. Grandma's busy. Uncle Adrian got held up. Aunt Carla must have mixed up the time. I told those lies because I thought protecting Mateo from rejection meant pretending rejection had not happened. Standing in that backyard, I finally understood that all I had done was teach him to accept crumbs without complaining. I slid the phone into my pocket and cut another piece of cake. "Big one or small one?" I asked Jonah. "Big." Good answer. I kept serving. I laughed when a balloon burst behind me. I helped 2 kids find their shoes. I wrapped leftover burgers in foil and sent them home with a mother who worked nights. I took pictures of Mateo holding the used basketball Jonah had given him, signed by every kid in his class with black marker. His smile was so wide that for one moment, I almost stopped caring about the empty chairs. Almost. The last guest left at 6:12. Mateo fell asleep on the couch before the sun went down, one arm draped over the signed ball as if someone might take it. I carried the trash outside, swept confetti from the patio, washed plastic cups because they were still good, and stacked the borrowed chairs by the front door. At 8:03, my mother texted again. "You're being dramatic. He had friends there. What difference would we have made?" I read it 4 times. Then I sat at the kitchen table with my hands smelling like dish soap and charcoal and thought about every bill I had paid for them. When Adrian's truck was repossessed, I gave him $1,800 to get it back. When Carla's air conditioner broke during a heat wave, I put $2,400 on my credit card because Isabella had asthma. When my mother's property taxes jumped, I covered the shortfall, even though she owned her house free and clear. Every time I hesitated, Elena used the same sentence. Family does not keep score. It was an interesting rule, considering they always knew exactly how much I could give. My father had died 6 years earlier. He had been the quiet one, the man who slipped Mateo dollar bills and let him help water tomatoes. After the funeral, my mother became the center of every decision. She organized holidays, controlled the family group chat, decided who was going through something and who was making everything about themselves. Carla mirrored her. Adrian avoided conflict by agreeing with whoever could make his life easiest. I became the dependable son. Dependable meant I carried folding tables, repaired leaking faucets, drove my mother to appointments, and paid bills nobody discussed in public. It did not mean they showed up for my child. That realization embarrassed me. Not because I had been generous, but because I had confused being needed with being loved. The following Sunday, the family group chat exploded at 9:17 in the morning. Carla posted a digital invitation framed in gold flowers. Isabella's Enchanted Night, a Quincera Celebration, Hill Country Vista, September 19th. Below the invitation was a spreadsheet. Dress sponsorship. Catering sponsorship. DJ sponsorship. Photography sponsorship. Family contribution. My mother wrote, "Each household is responsible for $3,200. Daniel, you'll coordinate the payments and cover my portion since I'm retired. Also, Carla has listed you as lead padrino because everyone knows you're the one who keeps us together." A second image followed. It was a mock-up of a large welcome sign for the venue. Lead padrino, Daniel Morales, an example of family unity and generosity. I felt heat rise from my chest to my face. Nobody had asked me. Nobody had called about Mateo. Nobody had apologized. My name was being used as decoration for a party. They expected me to finance. I typed, "I did not agree to any of this. Remove my name." 3 dots appeared immediately. Carla, don't embarrass Isabella because you're mad about a kid's backyard party. Adrian, bro, this is bigger than burgers and balloons. My mother, a man who punishes a young girl over his own pride should be ashamed. I stared at that last message. Elena had a gift for moving guilt so quickly that you could almost forget where it belonged. Mateo walked into the kitchen carrying his signed basketball. "Can I have cereal?" "Yes." He opened a cabinet, then glanced at my face. "What happened?" "Family chat." He nodded like that explained everything. That small reaction made my decision for me. I wrote, "I will not pay $3,200. I will not cover Mom. I will not coordinate anything. I did not consent to being listed as a sponsor. Remove my name today." Carla called. I declined. My mother called. I declined. Adrian sent a laughing emoji, followed by, "You've been waiting for a reason to act important." I opened Zelle and sent Carla $1. The note said, "Happy birthday, Isabella." Then I left the group chat. The silence lasted 8 minutes. My mother began calling from the landline. Carla called from Isabella's phone. Adrian called from a number I did not recognize. I blocked each one. For the first time in my adult life, I changed the lock on my front door without giving my mother a spare key. The old key had become a symbol in our family. Elena did not live with me, but she believed access was proof of love. She used to let herself in to drop something off, then comment on laundry, groceries, or the fact that Mateo's shoes were in the living room. Once, I came home from a service call and found her rearranging my kitchen cabinets because, according to her, a house needs a woman's logic. I had asked for the key back twice. She told relatives I was isolating myself. So I bought a new deadbolt, installed it after dinner, and put the old lock in a grocery bag. Mateo watched from the hallway. "Are we moving?" "No." "Then why are you changing it?" "Because people should knock before they come into someone else's home." He considered that. "Even grandma?" "Especially family." He nodded, then handed me the screwdriver I had set on the floor. That night, he worked on long division at the kitchen table while I answered emails from customers who needed weekend appointments. The house felt unusually quiet, but not empty. There was a difference. Empty was waiting for someone who had promised to come. Quiet. Was knowing nobody could walk in and turn your peace into a courtroom. At 8:46, someone pounded on the front door. Not knocked. Pounded. Mateo's pencil stopped moving. The pounding came again. Daniel, my mother shouted from outside. Open this door right now. I stood. Stay here, I told Mateo. Carla's voice joined hers. You can't just steal mom's things and block everybody. I looked through the blinds. My mother stood on the porch in a cream pantsuit, her arms crossed. Carla was beside her, holding her phone up as if she were recording. Adrian leaned against the hood of his truck, watching. Mrs. Alvarez's porch light turned on across the street. I did not open the door. I'm asking you to leave, I said through it. My mother's face changed. The softness disappeared. This is my family's house too. No, it's a rental in my name. I have belongings in there. What belongings? My key. Your father's medal. Family documents. The medal she meant had been my father's Army Good Conduct Medal. He gave it to Mateo 2 years before he died and told him courage was not always loud. It sat in a small frame on Mateo's bedroom shelf. My mother knew that. You gave the key to me, I said. The medal belongs to Mateo. There are no family documents here. Carla raised her voice for the camera. Look how aggressive he's being. I had not raised mine. That was another one of their tricks. They described my anger before I expressed it, hoping I would eventually perform the part they had assigned. Leave, I repeated. My mother stepped closer to the door. If you do this to us over money, you will regret it. Mateo appeared at the end of the hallway despite my instruction. His face was pale. I kept my body between him and the door. Adrian finally pushed away from his truck. Come on, man. Just open up and talk. No, he laughed once, but there was no humor in it. You think you can cut off the whole family and keep the kid away from us? That sentence landed differently. Mateo is not leverage, I said. My mother heard me through the door. Nobody said he was. But people may start asking whether all this instability is good for him. Carla lowered her phone. For half a second, even she looked surprised. Then my mother turned and walked toward Adrian's truck as if she had merely commented on the weather. I called through the door, do not come back without permission. Elena did not look at me. You'll call when you calm down. They drove away. I checked every window twice. Mateo stood near the kitchen, hugging the basketball against his stomach. Is Grandma mad because of my birthday? No, the answer came too fast. He looked at the floor. I crouched in front of him. She's mad because I said no to something. That is not your fault. Are they still my family? Yes, I said, because I did not want to lie. But being family doesn't make every choice okay. He swallowed. Did I do something wrong when I didn't ask where they were? That question cut deeper than anything my mother had said. I pulled him into my arms. No. You did nothing wrong. You hear me? Nothing. He held on for a long time. After I put him to bed, I took screenshots of every message, saved the video from Carla's public story, and emailed myself copies. The technician in me wanted evidence. When a line failed, you traced it. When a signal disappeared, you found where the connection had been cut. At 10:31, my phone showed a notification from the venue. Thank you for serving as lead padrino for Isabella's Enchanted Night. Your next installment of $6,500 is due Friday. I read it twice. Then a patrol car turned onto our street. Its red and blue lights swept across the living room wall. Mateo came running from his bedroom. The car stopped in front of our house. 2 officers stepped out. Dad, Mateo whispered, why are the police here? I opened the door with cold hands and a straight back because I refused to let Mateo see me shrink. The taller officer kept one hand near his belt, not threateningly, but out of habit. His partner, a woman with silver threaded through her dark hair, looked past me toward the kitchen. Daniel Morales, the tall one asked. Yes. We received a welfare call involving a child at this address. The caller also reported that you were behaving erratically and refusing to return property belonging to an elderly relative. Behind me, Mateo stood frozen beside the table. His division worksheet was still open. A half-eaten peanut butter sandwich sat next to his pencil. My son is safe, I said. You're welcome to come in. The officers entered. They saw the clean living room, Mateo's backpack hanging from a chair, the repaired basketball hoop visible through the back window, and a basket of unfolded laundry on the couch. It was not a staged house. It was the ordinary mess of 2 people living a normal life. The female officer lowered herself slightly so she was closer to Mateo's height. Hey there. What's your name? Mateo. How old are you? 10. Everything okay tonight? He looked at me before answering. I hated that he felt he needed permission. My dad was helping me with division, he said. Then my grandma yelled outside. Did anyone hurt you? No, do you have food? He pointed at the sandwich. The officer smiled. Fair enough. The tall officer asked to speak with me in the kitchen. I showed him the lease, the text messages, the venue notification, and the security camera clip from my doorbell. He watched my mother. Threatened that people might question whether my home was stable. His jaw tightened. Who made the call? I asked. We don't disclose that at the door. But it was a relative. That's what dispatch was told. What property did they say I had? He checked his notes. A house key, military medal, and personal records. I opened a drawer and took out the old deadbolt in the grocery bag. The key no longer works because I changed the lock on the house I rent. The medal was given directly to my son by my father. There are no records here. The female officer joined us. The child appears healthy and calm, she said. There's no indication of danger. Can you document that the claim was false? We'll document what we observed, the tall officer said. Keep the messages. Keep the video. If they return and refuse to leave, call us. Do not get pulled into an argument. Before leaving, the woman handed me a card. False welfare calls can become part of a harassment pattern, she said quietly. One call alone is hard to prove. A pattern is different. After the patrol car disappeared, Mateo locked the new deadbolt himself. Did we do something bad? He asked. No, then why did they believe Grandma? They didn't believe her. They checked. That still means she could make them come. I had no comforting answer that was also honest. I sat beside him at the table. Listen to me. Saying no is not dangerous. Some people just get louder when no used to work. He studied my face. Are you scared? I considered lying, then decided he had seen enough adults bend reality. A little. Me too. I put my arm around him. We can be scared and still do the right thing. He leaned against me. We finished 4 division problems together, though neither of us cared about the answers. After he went to bed, I opened the venue email. Hill Country Vista was a limestone estate outside the city, with oak trees wrapped in string lights, a ballroom for 300 people, and a fountain wide enough to park my work van in. Carla had chosen the Royal Heritage package. The total estimate was $28,460 before gratuities. My name appeared beside 3 words, financially responsible sponsor. I wrote to the venue manager. I did not authorize this contract, sponsorship, or payment plan. Remove my name immediately. Please preserve all records showing who submitted my information. A reply came 22 minutes later from Avery Collins, the general manager. Mr. Morales, thank you for contacting us. Your sister represented that you had approved the arrangement and would sign in person. However, our file includes a signed sponsor acknowledgement and a copy of your driver's license. We are placing the account on hold while we investigate. A copy of my driver's license. I sat up. 3 years earlier, I had emailed my mother a photo of my license when she needed help transferring the title of my father's old truck. She had said the county clerk required identification from all heirs. I never asked whether she deleted it. Avery attached the sponsor form. My name was typed at the top. My old address appeared beneath it. At the bottom was a signature shaped like mine but wrong in the small ways that mattered. The first loop was too round. The last stroke leaned left. Whoever copied it had looked at an example and drawn what they thought a signature was. The form guaranteed up to $18,000 of unpaid expenses. For the first time, the situation stopped feeling like family drama. It became fraud. The next morning, I called my bank, froze my credit with all 3 bureaus, and filed an identity theft report. I drove to the police substation with a red folder containing printed screenshots, the venue contract, the doorbell video, and the officer's incident number. The desk officer referred me to a financial crimes detective named Priya Shah. Detective Shah had a calm voice and the expression of someone who had heard every possible excuse. Do you want to pursue charges if the evidence supports them? She asked. The question made my stomach twist. My first instinct was to imagine my mother crying in a courtroom. My second was to imagine Mateo asking why police had come to our home. Yes, I said. She watched me for a second. Family cases often fall apart because the victim changes their mind when pressure starts. I'm not changing mine. Then stop discussing evidence with them. Do not threaten them with police. Do not give them a chance to coordinate stories. I nodded. She photocopied the red folder. By lunch, the family had already begun coordinating without my help. A cousin texted, "Your mom says you stole Dad's medal and threatened her." An uncle sent, "Whatever happened, don't ruin Isabella's big day." A woman from my mother's church called and said Elena was deeply concerned about my emotional state. Carla posted a vague message online about people who use children as weapons. Adrian commented, "Some men only feel strong when they hurt women." I wanted to answer every accusation. I wanted to upload the screenshots, the contract, the security video, and every receipt I had ever paid. Instead, I followed Detective Shah's advice and said nothing publicly. Silence did not feel noble. It felt like standing still while people threw mud. At work, I misread a service address and drove 18 minutes in the wrong direction. My supervisor, Glenn, asked if everything was okay. Family issue. He nodded as if that phrase carried a known weight. Take the afternoon if you need it. I need the hours. Then take the commercial call on West Commerce. It's indoors. That small kindness almost broke me. When I picked Mateo up from summer camp, he climbed into the van without his usual story about basketball. What happened? Nothing. I waited. At a red light, he said, Lena told Jonah that her mom said you hate the family. Lena was Adrian's 11-year-old daughter. What did Jonah say? That you don't hate me, so you're probably okay. I laughed once, but my throat tightened. Jonah's a smart kid. Mateo looked out the window. Do you hate them? No, would it be easier if you did? I gripped the steering wheel. Maybe. But not hating someone doesn't mean you let them hurt you. He was quiet for another block. Can I block Grandma too? The question made me look at him. Has she contacted you? He handed me his tablet. There were 6 messages. From Elena through a family game app one had forgotten she used. Your father is confused. You need your grandmother. Tell him to call me. Isabella's party may be cancelled because he is selfish. A good boy helps keep the family together. Don't show him these messages. He'll get upset. My vision narrowed. She had gone around me and placed the weight of a $28,000 party on a 10-year-old. I took screenshots before blocking her account. That night, I added the messages to the red folder. Detective Shah called the next morning. The venue gave us the original email chain, she said. The sponsor form came from your sister's address. Your mother was copied on several messages. So they both knew. It appears so. There's also discussion of outside financing. Did you apply for an event loan through Lone Star Celebration Credit? No, check your credit reports again. I opened the report while she stayed on the line. A hard inquiry had appeared 2 days earlier. Lone Star Celebration Credit. Amount requested, $24,750. My hands started shaking. They tried to borrow money in my name. That is what we're investigating. The application used your date of birth, social security number, employer, and estimated annual income. Only a few people had access to all of that. My mother had helped prepare my father's estate paperwork. Carla had once helped Elena organize tax files in the dining room. The information had been sitting in a metal cabinet in my mother's house. I remembered all the times Elena said, nobody in this family has secrets. Apparently, she meant nobody but her was allowed to have them. Was the loan approved? I asked. Not funded. The lender flagged an inconsistency in the bank account verification. Relief hit first, then rage. They almost put me $24,750 in debt. Yes. And then sent police to my house. Keep documenting contact. The next contact did not come from my mother. It came from Isabella. She called from a number I did not recognize while I was replacing a control panel in a dentist's office. I almost ignored it. Uncle Daniel, she whispered. Isabella? Please don't. Hang up. I stepped into the hallway. I'm not hanging up. She began crying so quietly I could hear her trying not to be heard. I didn't know they put your name on everything. Where are you? At my dad's apartment. Carla and Isabella's father, Luis, had divorced 5 years earlier. My mother blamed him for everything from the failed marriage to the weather. I had not spoken to him in almost a year. Are you safe? Yes. Mom dropped me off because she has a dress fitting. What happened? I saw the emails on her laptop. She told the venue you offered to pay. Grandma said you would complain, but then she'd make you feel guilty. I closed my eyes. Did they tell you why they missed Mateo's birthday? There was a pause. They told me it was moved to next weekend. The hallway seemed to tilt. Who told you? Grandma. I bought Mateo a little Spurs keychain. I thought I was going to give it to him later. She sniffed. Then I saw the brunch pictures. Grandma told everyone not to mention the party because you needed to learn that you couldn't say no to family and still expect support. The words were worse because they matched the suspicion I had been avoiding. It had not been carelessness. It had been punishment. Isabella, none of this is your fault. Mom says you're canceling my quinceañera. I'm refusing to pay for something I never agreed to. I know. Her voice steadied slightly. I don't even want that venue. What? I wanted the community hall near Dad's church. Mom said people would think we were struggling. She picked the big place because Grandma said the family needed a celebration people would talk about. This was the first twist that loosened something in my chest. Isabella was not the spoiled girl they had placed in front of me as a shield. She was another child being used as scenery. Have you told your dad? He knows some of it. Not the loan. Tell him everything. Stay with him tonight. Mom will be furious. I know. She has my dress. A dress is not more important than you. She was silent. Then she said, I have something else. A message arrived while we were still on the phone. It was an audio file. I recorded Grandma and Mom after they came back from your house, Isabella said. I was upstairs. They thought I had headphones on. I pressed play. My mother's voice came first. He'll fold when the lender calls. Daniel always panics when his credit is involved. Carla answered, what if he reports the signature? Elena laughed softly. He won't. He'd never put his own mother in trouble. Then Adrian's voice entered from farther away. Sending the cops was too much. My mother replied, no. He needed to understand that I can make his life uncomfortable too. A chair scraped. Carla said, and Mateo? Elena answered without hesitation. The boy is exactly why this works. Daniel will do anything to avoid a family scandal around him. I stopped the recording. For several seconds, all I could hear was the dentist's air conditioning system. Uncle Daniel? Isabella said. I'm here. I'm sorry. You have nothing to apologize for. Are you going to send it to the police? Yes. She inhaled shakily. Okay. That afternoon, Luis called me. His voice was controlled, but anger sat beneath every word. Isabella told me everything, he said. I'm keeping her with me for now. Good. Carla says I'm kidnapping her. You have joint custody. I know. She also says you're trying to destroy the party. I'm trying to stop them from borrowing money in my name. He went quiet. I believe you, he said. I had not realized how badly I needed one adult in the family orbit to say that. Avery Collins scheduled an in-person meeting at Hill Country Vista for Friday. She said the venue's legal counsel would attend by video. Detective Shaw asked me to go, say little, and sign only the statement confirming I had not authorized the contract. On Thursday evening, my Aunt Rosa knocked on my door. She was my mother's older sister and the only person Elena could not intimidate for long. Rosa carried a foil pan of enchiladas and a thick envelope. I should have come sooner, she said. Mateo peeked around me. Rosa held up a small gift bag. And I owe someone a birthday present. Inside was a new basketball pump and a card with $20. Mateo hugged her, then disappeared to test the pump. Rosa sat at my kitchen table. Elena told us you canceled the party because you were angry about money, she said. Then Isabella called me. I placed the audio on the table between us. Rosa listened without interrupting. When it ended, she looked older. She learned that from our father, she said. Punish the person who resists, then tell everyone the punishment was their fault. She pushed the envelope toward me. Inside were screenshots of messages from a separate family planning chat I had never been invited to. My mother had collected contributions from relatives for Isabella's party. She told them I was matching every dollar. Several people had sent money to Elena directly. Total collected, $9,800. The venue had received only $3,000. Where is the rest? I asked. Rosa shook her head. Elena says she gave it to Carla. Carla says your mother is holding it for final payments. At the bottom of the stack was a printout of a message Elena had sent 2 months earlier. Once Daniel's name is on the financing, we can use the family money to clear Carla's cards. He'll pay the venue over time. I felt physically sick. They were not merely forcing me to fund a party. They planned to use relatives' contributions to erase Carla's private debt while leaving the event loan in my name. Rosa reached across the table. There is one more thing. My phone rang before she could continue. It was Detective Shaw. Mr. Morales, she said, we found a second application connected to your information. My mouth went dry. For what? Not the venue. A personal loan. How much? $42,000. Rosa watched my face. Detective Shaw continued. The application lists your mother's house as collateral and you as the borrower. According to the documents, you were purchasing the house from her. I stood so quickly the chair scraped backward. I never agreed to buy her house. I know. But the preliminary title packet includes a notarized signature with your name. The room went silent. Then Rosa finished the sentence. She had been trying to tell me. Daniel, she said, your mother has already told the whole family that you own her house. For most of my life, my mother's house had been presented as sacred ground. It was the brick ranch where my father planted pecan trees, where every Thanksgiving photo had been taken, and where Elena reminded us that she had kept the family together after he died. She used the house as proof of sacrifice and as a threat. "Someday this will belong to all of you," she would say when she wanted free repairs. "You wouldn't let your father's home fall apart," she would say when the roof needed work. I had replaced the water heater, repaired the fence, paid 2 years of tax shortages, and installed cameras she later complained made her feel watched. Now she had apparently tried to sell the house to me without my knowledge. Detective Shaw explained that the $42,000 application was structured as a cash-out transaction tied to a private sale. My mother would receive money at closing. I would receive a mortgage-sized obligation and a house I had never agreed to buy. The lender had paused the file because the employment verification number belonged to my company's general dispatch line, not human resources. "Do not contact her tonight," Shaw warned. "She used a notary. We're looking at that." "Can she lose the house?" "Nothing has closed. The title company froze the file. Right now, the important thing is preserving evidence." I looked at Rosa. "Why tell everyone I owned it?" "To make the story feel real," she said. "Elena has been saying you insisted on buying the house because you wanted control. When people asked why, she said you were planning to move her into a senior apartment. The cruelty of it was almost elegant. My mother had forged a sale, cast herself as the victim of it, and prepared the family to blame me if anything went wrong." Rosa opened another message. It was from Adrian. "If Daniel owns the house now, he can pull equity for the quinceanera. Mom says it's basically an investment." My brother had known enough to benefit and not enough to ask questions. I sat back down. I thought Friday was about removing my name from a party. Rosa's expression hardened. "Friday is when you stop letting them decide what the truth is." The next morning, I dropped Mateo at Mrs. Alvarez's house before summer camp. I told him I had a meeting and that Rosa would pick him up afterward. "Is it about Grandma?" he asked. "Yes." "Are police coming again?" "Not to our house." He studied me, then took the signed basketball from under his arm and handed it to me. "What's this for?" "Luck." I smiled despite everything. "I'll bring it back." "You better." Jonah signed twice. I left the ball in my van where I could see it through the windshield. Hill Country Vista looked even more expensive in person. The entrance road curved between live oaks and white stone walls. A fountain sent water into the air in perfect arcs. Workers carried gold chairs across a courtyard while a woman arranged artificial flowers taller than she was. I parked beside my mother's Lexus. Inside the reception lounge, Elena sat rigidly on a velvet sofa. Carla paced near the windows in a fitted white jumpsuit, talking into her phone about centerpieces. Adrian wore sunglasses indoors and tapped one foot against the marble floor. They all turned when I entered with the red folder. My mother stood. "Finally," she said. "Tell these people you overreacted." "I'm not here to pay." Carla ended her call. "Do not start. Isabella's name is already on everything. Her name belongs on her party. Mine does not belong on fraudulent contracts." Adrian took off his sunglasses. "Keep your voice down." My voice was not loud. Avery Collins entered carrying a tablet. She was in her 40s, composed, and clearly finished. "With family theatrics. Mr. Morales, thank you for coming. We'll meet in the conference room." My mother stepped toward her. "This is a misunderstanding. My son approved everything verbally." I did not. Elena turned to me with the wounded expression that had controlled rooms for decades. "Daniel, enough. People make sacrifices for family." "Yes. I've made plenty." Carla folded her arms. "You are punishing a 15-year-old. Because your son's little party didn't get enough attention." Before I could answer, the front doors opened. Isabella walked in with Luis. She wore jeans, sneakers, and no makeup. Her hair was tied back. She looked younger than she did in the professional quinceanera photos Carla had posted for months. Carla's face changed. "What are you doing here?" "I asked Dad to bring me." "This is an adult meeting. It's my party." "You don't understand what's happening." "I understand that you used Uncle Daniel's name." Carla glanced around the lobby as if the building itself had betrayed her. "Luis, take her outside." "No," Luis said. He did not raise his voice. He simply stood beside his daughter. My mother recovered first. "Isabella, sweetheart, everyone is under stress. Go look at the ballroom. We're fixing this." "I don't want the ballroom." The sentence was soft, but it stopped everyone. Carla laughed nervously. "Of course you do. You picked the theme." "You picked it." "I said I wanted blue." "You said blue looked cheap." Avery opened the conference room door. "We should continue inside." The room had a long table, a wall-mounted screen, and windows overlooking the fountain. Avery sat at one end. A lawyer appeared on video. I sat across from my mother and siblings. Luis and Isabella took seats near the wall. Avery began. "Hill Country Vista has concluded that Mr. Morales did not authorize the sponsor agreement. His name has been removed from the account, all printed and digital materials, and the event financing request. Carla's mouth opened. You can't remove it from the welcome sign. It's already printed. We can, and we have. Avery turned the tablet toward us. The revised sign. Displayed only Isabella's name. The remaining balance is the responsibility of the contracting party, Carla Vega. Carla looked at my mother. Elena reached for my hand across the table. I moved mine. Daniel, she whispered, tell them it was a family misunderstanding. A misunderstanding is putting the wrong date on an invitation. Forging my signature is fraud. Adrian leaned forward. You don't have to use that word. It is the correct word. My mother's eyes filled. Your father would be ashamed. That sentence had worked on me for 6 years. This time, I pictured my father placing his medal in Mateo's hands. Courage is not always loud. No, I said. He would be ashamed that you turned his family into a collection agency. Avery slid a document toward me. This confirms you deny authorization and have no financial obligation to the venue. I read every line before signing. My mother watched the pen move. For years, my signature had repaired their mistakes. It had guaranteed loans, paid deposits, approved transfers, and turned their emergencies into my responsibility. That morning, my signature did the opposite. It removed me. Carla pushed back her chair. You ruined her quinceañera. Isabella spoke before I did. No, Mom. You did. Carla stared at her daughter. You have no idea how hard I worked for you. You worked for pictures. That is incredibly ungrateful. I asked for a small party. You're 15. You don't know what matters. I know I don't want Uncle Daniel paying for it. Silence filled the room. Then the door opened. Detective Shaw entered with another officer and a woman I recognized from a video call as the lender's fraud investigator. My mother stood halfway. What is this? Detective Shaw looked at me first. Mr. Morales, we need to speak with several people regarding the event loan and a separate real estate transaction. Carla's face drained of color. Adrian turned toward Elena. What real estate transaction? My mother sat down slowly. This has nothing to do with the venue. It has to do with my identity, I said. Adrian looked from me to our mother. What is he talking about? I opened the red folder and placed copies of the $42,000 loan application on the table. Mom tried to sell me her house on paper and take cash at closing. That is not what happened, Elena said. Detective Shaw remained near the door. You should be careful about making statements before counsel is present. My mother ignored her. Daniel agreed months ago that the house should stay in the family. I agreed the house should not be sold to a developer. I did not agree to buy it. You said you would take care of me. Taking care of you is not the same as letting you forge my name. Carla picked up the application. Her eyes moved across the page. You told me the equity loan was approved. Elena turned sharply. Be quiet. The room changed. Avery's lawyer leaned closer to his camera. Adrian stared at Carla. What equity loan? Carla realized too late that she had answered the question everyone was asking. Detective Shaw said, Ms. Vega, did you know about the application? Carla's hands trembled. I knew Mom was getting money from the house. She said Daniel had agreed. You used his personal information on the event financing application. That was temporary. The fraud investigator spoke for the first time. Identity theft is not temporary. My mother began crying. Not quietly. Not helplessly. She cried with the practiced rhythm of someone ringing an alarm she expected everyone to obey. I did everything for this family, she said. After your father died, I carried all of you. Carla was drowning in debt. Isabella deserved one beautiful night. Adrian's business was struggling. Daniel had good credit. I was trying to help everyone. There it was. The truth, dressed as sacrifice. You were helping everyone with money that wasn't yours, I said. Elena pointed at me. You have always thought you were better because you make lists and pay bills on time. No. I thought paying bills meant I was useful enough for you to love. The words came out before I planned them. My mother stopped crying for half a second. That pause told me more than tears ever had. Rosa entered carrying her own folder. Elena looked at her sister with naked fury. You had no right to come. I had every right after you collected money from my children, Rosa said. She handed Avery a ledger of family contributions. $9,800 was collected for this event. Only $3,000 reached the venue. The lawyer on the screen asked Carla where the remaining money was. Carla looked at Elena. My mother said nothing. Rosa placed printed bank transfers on the table. $4,500 went from Elena's account to Carla's credit cards, $1,200 went to Adrian's business rent. The rest was withdrawn in cash. Adrian stood. You said Daniel had already replaced that money. I plan to, Elena snapped. With the loan in my name, I said. Adrian's face changed as the full structure became visible. He had mocked me, but my mother had also lied to him. She had made each of us believe the others had approved whatever served her plan. Rosa took out her phone. There's more. My mother's voice filled the conference room from Isabella's recording. He'll fold when the lender calls. Then Carla, what if he reports the signature? Then Elena, he won't. He'd never put his own mother in trouble. Nobody moved. The recording continued. Sending the cops was too much, Adrian had said. No. He needed to understand that I can make his life uncomfortable too. Carla covered her mouth. The boy is exactly why this works. Daniel will do anything to avoid a family scandal around him. When the audio ended, even the fountain outside seemed loud. Adrian sat down. Isabella began crying. Luis put an arm around her. My mother looked around the table, searching for the first person willing to rescue her. Nobody did. You recorded me in my own home, she asked Isabella. The fact that this was her first concern told everyone exactly who she was. Isabella wiped her face. You used Mateo. I was speaking emotionally. You said he was why the threat would work. Elena, Rosa said, stop. My mother turned on her. You have always wanted my children against me. No. I wanted your children to stop being afraid of disappointing you. Detective Shaw asked Elena and Carla to step into separate rooms for interviews. The second officer requested Adrian remain available as a witness. No one was handcuffed in the conference room. There was no dramatic shouting, no siren, no movie-style confession. The consequences were quieter and more frightening. The venue canceled the luxury package because the required payment deadline had passed and the account was tied to suspected fraud. The lender closed the event application and referred it for prosecution. The title company voided the preliminary sale packet and suspended the notary pending investigation. Carla stood near the door, furious and terrified. She looked at me. You could stop this. No, she's your mother. And Mateo is my son. My mother's shoulders dropped as if I had struck her. That sentence was the line she had never believed I would draw. I was her son. But I was his father first. Outside the conference room, Isabella sat on a bench beneath a painting of the venue at sunset. He sat beside her. I'm sorry about your party. She shook her head. I'm relieved. You're allowed to be sad too. I'm sad about what it became. Luis stood a few feet away, giving us space. Isabella reached into her bag and pulled out a small Spurs keychain. I bought this for Mateo. I took it. He'll love it. Do you think he hates me? No. He thought you forgot. Her face crumpled. I didn't. I'll tell him. She looked toward the conference room door. Will Grandma go to jail? I don't know. Do you want her to? I took a moment before answering. I want the truth to stop costing innocent people. That was the most honest answer I had. The investigations took months. Carla eventually accepted a plea agreement involving identity theft, attempted fraud, restitution, and probation. She claimed my mother had directed the paperwork, but the emails showed she had submitted the venue application herself. Elena faced charges related to the forged real estate documents, false financial statements, and misuse of my information. The notary admitted she had notarized the signature without seeing me because Elena was a longtime church friend. The false welfare call was added to the harassment record. It did not create a separate dramatic charge, but it destroyed my mother's claim that she had acted out of concern. Adrian was not charged. He had accepted money from the contribution fund, but investigators found no proof he knew where it came from. He called me 3 weeks later. I was wrong, he said. Yes. I thought you were making the birthday thing bigger than it was. You helped make it smaller than it was. He breathed into the phone. I don't know how to fix this. You start by not asking me to make you feel better. He apologized to Mateo in person. I did not forgive him immediately, and I did not ban him forever. I let his future choices speak louder than one conversation. Carla's relationship with Isabella changed. Luis became the primary residential parent while Carla attended counseling and completed court requirements. Isabella still had a quinceañera, but not at Hill Country Vista. She chose the community hall near Luis's church. The decorations were blue. Her father paid what he could. Rosa made enchiladas. Cousins hung lights. I installed speakers and repaired a loose outlet without charging anyone. I did not sponsor the event, guarantee a balance, or coordinate payments. I attended as her uncle. Mateo wore a navy shirt and gave Isabella a card. She gave him the Spurs keychain and apologized for missing his birthday. I thought it was moved, she said. I know, he answered. Dad told me. Then he asked if she wanted to shoot baskets outside. Children do not always need grand speeches. Sometimes they need one honest sentence a day. Chance to play. My mother was not invited. For weeks, relatives argued about that decision. Some said excluding her was cruel. Others said consequences were not cruelty. For the first time, I did not campaign for anyone's approval. Elena sent letters. The first blamed Carla. The second blamed grief. The third said I had humiliated her. The fourth finally said, I used your love for Matteo against you. I told myself it was because I knew you would protect him, but the truth is I wanted control. I kept that letter. I did not treat it as a key. An apology can be real and still arrive before trust is ready. At home, life became smaller in the best way. There were no emergency calls about other adults' bills. No surprise visits. No family messages demanding money before asking how Matteo was doing. I paid down the credit card from Carla's old air conditioning repair. I built a real base for the basketball hoop. Mrs. Alvarez started joining us for Sunday dinner. Rosa came by without bringing gossip. Adrian showed up to 3 of Matteo's games in a row and stayed until the end. One evening, I found a drawing taped to the refrigerator. It showed 2 people standing beside a crooked basketball hoop. One had a tool bag. The other held a ball. A tiny woman waved from the house across the street, and a taller woman carried a pan of enchiladas. Across the top, Matteo had written, "The people who show up." I stood there longer than I expected. He came into the kitchen and opened the refrigerator. You like it? I love it. Grandma isn't in it. I noticed. Maybe later, if she learns. There was no bitterness in his voice. Only a boundary. I realized my 10-year-old understood something that had taken me 38 years to learn. Love did not have to erase consequences. Family did not mean permanent access. Forgiveness did not require an unlocked door. I still make lists. Grocery lists. Work orders. School deadlines. Monthly expenses. But inside my wallet, behind Matteo's latest school picture, I keep one new list. Do not pay for belonging. Do not explain a boundary to someone committed to crossing it. Do not let guilt borrow your name. Protect the child who trusts you. Choose the people who show up. The last time my mother came to my house, nearly a year after the police visit, she knocked. She did not use the old key. She stood on the porch alone and waited. I opened the door but kept one hand on the frame. I'm not asking to come in, she said. That was new. She held a small wrapped box. It's for Matteo. You can check it first. Inside was a simple basketball wristband and a card. No money. No guilt. No message telling him to fix the family. Can I see him? She asked. Not today. Pain crossed her face. All right. Another new thing. She started to leave, then turned. I thought being the center meant I was holding everyone together. You were holding everyone in place. She nodded slowly. I'm trying to understand the difference. I did not invite her inside. I did not promise a future visit. I also did not slam the door. After she left, Matteo read the card. Do I have to call her? No, can I wait? Yes. He put the wristband on the counter and picked up his basketball. Come on, Dad. Best out of 10. We went outside as the sun dropped behind the roofs. Mrs. Alvarez watered her plants across the street. Somewhere down the block, someone was grilling. Matteo took the first shot and missed. Doesn't count, he said. I wasn't ready. You were holding the ball. Still wasn't ready. I laughed and passed it back. The porch behind us was quiet. The deadbolt was strong. The people who loved us knew how to knock. Matteo shot again. This time, the ball went clean through the hoop. He raised both arms like he had won a championship, and I cheered loud enough for the whole street to hear. For years, I thought justice would feel like watching the people who hurt me lose everything. It did not. Justice felt like my son no longer asking what he had done wrong. It felt like signing my own name and knowing nobody else could spend it. It felt like a child's drawing on a refrigerator, a repaired hoop in a rented yard, and a front door that opened only when peace was standing on the other side.